Hi, everybody, and welcome back to I Will Go Down with the Ship. I am Heather.
And I'm Chelsea.
And Chelsea, after episode 8, I think we just need to get into it.
Yeah.
Um, okay. I want to save the big ones for the last, but we figured the best way to kind of do a wrap up is to talk about every individual character and their journey and where they ended up. And I think we should start with Max. I felt like now that I've seen
Yeah.
all 8 episodes, I think if we're not including Hank and Thaddeus like side characters, I honestly think that he was the most consistent character. I loved his growth, and he was probably my favorite character. Like, he didn't do anything where I was like, that's really stupid, or I completely disagree, or that didn't make any sense. Like, I felt like he was the most consistent. I loved his transformation from season 1 to season 2. And
Yeah.
yeah, so let's talk Max. Like, why don't you jump in first and then, yeah.
I'm so proud of him, and he is so much more dear to me after what we've gotten to see in this season than he was in season one.
Yes, I agree.
And I'm so glad they gave us that because if we do not get our ship with the way Max is becoming, if they can make it make sense, and if they can, really serve it to us well, I don't think I would be that mad about Vault Night if they go Vault Night. Like I'm internally crushed if they don't go that way, and like I will be upset, but like I could be okay with Lucy being with Max as he is now. I would not have been okay with it in season one, but I could be okay with it now.
I feel like hearing you say that, it's kind of like how I feel about Harry Potter. Because I'm a very, like, I know you have multi-shippers and I could never be that. I have like my one ship and that's my ride or die. But like with Harry Potter, like I want Hermione and Snape to be together, but I understand Draco and Hermione. And so it's
Right.
like I'm not against that, but I'm also not going to like go out of my way to ship it, but I don't like hate it. It's like, you know what? Logistically speaking, I would rather Hermione be with Draco than Ron. So if I can't get him or her with Snape, then I would be fine with the because it makes sense from that perspective. So I feel like
Right.
the whole Max thing with Lucy, I like this Max. Does that mean that I necessarily want them to be together? No, I like their friendship. Um,
I could totally be cool with them being like just platankers
yeah.
and us still getting our ship, or even Lucy just being a bad bitch by herself.
I'm fine with Lucy. I feel like they do that so much nowadays that I'm just like, give me the romance, but then at the same time, if you don't give me the romance in a satisfying way, I'd rather her be by herself. So I feel like I'm being very picky about what I want, but I also feel like I'm not because they used to do this so well back in the day, like in the 2010s, in the early 2000s. Like I don't understand why it seems to be so difficult nowadays to write a good romance. Like I don't understand this. But specific
I
to
think a
yeah.
lot of the problem is trying to please too many different people at the same time.
Oh, that's a good point. That's a good point. And this is the problem because you have I feel like you have to lean. So here's a theory I saw floating around on Tumblr that the writer's room might have looked a little different this season than last season, which
Yeah.
definitely makes sense because the story cohesion and consistency in season 1 is flawless. I would do 10 out of 10 for that season. Everything was so beautiful. This season, I felt was a lot more plot devicey. The timelines were confusing and didn't quite add up. I didn't understand a lot of character motivations. There was I felt like this season was more geared towards shock value versus the shock value actually making sense based on the things that we've known.
Right.
I didn't
And
think that
then,
some of the shock value was earned.
mm-mm. And also there's just a general feeling of like giving me hope, looking at you, the wink,
Right.
and then just like snatching that hope away in episode 8.
Yeah.
Like,
So, really quick, obviously, this is coming out before episode 7 because this is Wednesday. We just watched it. The emotions in us are raw and real, and we thought it would be better if we just dissected it while we're feeling this. We will come back and record episode 7, but just know that that's why we did that. So, in terms of like, like, I loved watching Max grow. I loved the relationship that he had with Dane. I love that he's like this inherent people pleaser. And
Right,
even in episode 8, when his life was kind of flashing before his eyes with the death claw, he didn't think of Lucy. He thought of his family. And it kind of
right.
reminded me of like even Cooper when he was going feral, he was thinking of Jane,
If,
of
yeah.
Jamie. And so I liked that. Even if I wish Cooper would have been thinking of Lucy, I kind of liked that callback of like family and how they shape us and, like what can we take from them. I really liked that moment with Max. And it
Yeah,
also,
that flashback moment like got me in my heart and like I was teary-eyed. I absolutely loved that moment and like just seeing him get up off of his back, like crawl out of the armor and grab a fucking roulette wheel for a shield and a pool cue
yeah.
for a fucking spear. Just like that whole moment was so fucking beautiful.
Well, to me, it was very symbolic of he is his own knight versus I'm a brother, a knight of the Brotherhood. Like he had the
Right.
shield, he had the, what are the long spears called? The bayonet.
Lances or something.
Yeah, lances. And it's like he was gonna do the right thing. And season 1, Max, all the way here, I thought it was so great. And he, to me, I mean, granted, my focus was more on Cooper and Lucy, but I felt like he earned that growth. Like he earned the
Yes.
doing the right thing. And it was just wonderful and beautiful.
And
Um,
Aaron played it so well. And also, can we just like take a short sidetrack for a second and talk about how much I loved Thaddeus betting on Max and having Max's back
I love the
in those
bromance.
scenes?
I love the like his arm is literally like falling off and he's like shaking it at people. Like I Thaddeus is probably my him and Hank are probably my favorite characters this season. And then
Valid.
followed by Max. Not because I hate Lucy and Cooper, it's not their fault. We're going to go into it later, but I just didn't agree with a lot of the writing direction, the character choices. I just I just didn't whatever. Um so for Thaddeus, I loved his character arc too. And my dad sent me this meme which was great because you remember that scene, I think it was in episode 7 where you have the Ghoul, Max and Thaddeus and Dogmeat all kind of walking towards Vegas together. And the meme said something like it's the Scarecrow, the Tin Man, and the Cowardly Lion and Toto all going to rescue Dorothy, which I thought was perfect because Max
I
is,
love that so
I
much.
know,
I just got chills, like
I
literal
know.
goosebumps.
Isn't that great? And so it was just
Ugh.
great. Thaddeus, like, he started out very, I'm gonna run away, but Thaddeus has always been good at adapting. Like, and that's one of the
Mhm.
traits that I love about him. So his arm's gonna fall off and he's just gonna adapt and figure it out.
Right. I love that he like braces the barrel of the gun between his toes so he can pull the trigger.
And
Like,
he doesn't run away. Like he doesn't hide in the thing. He not only has Max's back and not only does he bet on him, but he's going to help him too. And from where they started in season 1, where they were kind of selfish and they were forced to kind of work together to save their own
right.
asses. They
But
kind
would have been willing to throw each other under the bus, and they have
of
come so far.
100%. I just loved it. I thought that they did such a good job. Really quick, what did you think about the NCR and the Legion? Do you think that it was enough to save it from being a Deus Ex Machina? Do you think that you're gonna roll with it, but you think it could have been handled a little differently? Like, what was your opinion on that sort of not only the war, but like, the NCR coming in to save the day, et cetera, et cetera.
Right. Well, I'm actually interested to see how things play out between the NCR and the Legion there in Vegas. Like, I hope we get to see that. I hope that's not something that's just like glossed over. next season in favor of like looking at the Enclave and what's going on there and all that kind of stuff and the shit that Steph activated. Um, but for me, like, I don't know, as a person who likes the game, I really enjoyed the moment when that NCR Ranger came in and like shot the fucking horn off the Death Claw, and then you
Yeah.
get the theme music playing like from the game. It gave me chill bumps. Like I kind of loved that moment, but it did feel a little bit Deus Ex Machina to me, but
I'm over here mispronouncing it. I'm so sorry for everyone. Sit through that. Okay, keep going.
it did feel a little Deus Ex Machina to me, but I feel like it's setting us up for a bigger game board next season if they don't cheat us out of getting to see how shit plays out between the NCR and the Legion. And can we just talk about Macaulay Culkin? And like, that was hot. I'm sorry. That was hot. I like the whole everything he did in this episode. I was like, yes, sir.
No, the best part, I think my favorite line in that episode was like, we're gonna build a new palace, a Kaiser's palace in Vegas. I was like, I'm sitting here like I'm like the mad person. I'm like, I already know this episode's gonna piss me off, but then like the opening of that happened and I'm like, oh, shit, that got me. Like I'm starting to smile and laugh, like, okay,
Right.
that was
That
good.
was really funny. Like that tickled me. Lake and I both had a laugh about that. I thought that was great. And I thought that it was fantastic that he was just like, fuck you, the Legion does not die with you.
Right,
Let's fucking do this shit. And
right.
just like crowned himself Kaiser. Like,
Yeah, yeah. I don't know if I would say it's okay, pronounce it again. Deus Ex Machina.
yes.
Okay, okay. Part of me, I know, okay, first of all, I want to caveat and say, look, I know they only have 8 episodes, but they're also choosing what to put in and what not to put in. Okay. I felt that the 8 episodes of the first season was very beautifully paced. Nothing felt rushed. There was no filler. Um, like, if I'm going to be completely honest, a lot of the vault stuff, minus the issue with Steph, feels a lot like filler. Like, why did we
Right.
need so much stuff with the incest group? And
Right. Like all of that feels like a lot of setup just to get to the reveal that Steph is Hank's wife, which I kind of called that and I'm so happy about it.
I'm just kind of over here like, but minus the Steph part, but because I think we could have gotten to the Steph part without um
Without as much of that.
but without as much of the group or even the Betty drama. Like I get that Betty needs the water, and that's fine.
Yeah.
And I remember the water issue from season 1, so I get that, and I'm fine with them kind of touching on it. But I felt like it took away from Max, from Dane. Like we don't even get Dane in this episode, which I thought that
Right.
they did Dane dirty that way. Like, you know,
Agreed.
I felt like, Max, dude, like I'm happy for you, but where is your bro? Like, where's Dane? Like, are you worried? And I think that and we'll get into this with, Cooper when we talk about Cooper, but I'm like, I'm glad that you found Lucy. I'm glad that you found your friend and she is sort of like your hope and this good person that you think is going to fix things. But are you concerned at all if Dane made it out? Like, I haven't seen you give that consideration to Dane. And
Right.
again, this could be happening off screen. It could be, but it's like these are things that I want to see because Dane should matter to Max. And after everything that happened at the Brotherhood, like what now what? We have a civil war with the Brotherhood. We have a war coming up with the Legion and the NCR. We have a lot of wars going on. And what's almost a little frustrating is this seemed to be a theme in the show or this season at least, and we don't get a resolution to any of them. It feels
Right. Right. And it's that feels like very much you know, let me put this curved stick around your neck and yank you to next season
right.
kind of vibe. But I do feel like things could have been a lot more streamlined with the Vaulties, and I feel like honestly we could have had more Norm
Yeah.
and like less of the Vaulties and still got to where we got to, you
Yeah.
know. And
I
like it was great for the like the Fallout tongue in cheek in universe humor.
Yes. I
But
I loved that, but it all made sense. Like when Reg and gosh, what's the other one? It's Reg and
Woody,
Woody. When they were running for like Overseer, like that actually made sense based on all of it, and it never overshadowed the three main arcs. Like it was always kind of what's Norm doing? What is he seeing that we're not? Now that Norm is not in the vault anymore, I don't think that we need as much to go back into the vaults, except now I'm very curious about Steph. And since we're on Steph, let's
right?
jump into Steph. I ship Hank and Steph. Like I'm
Me
like,
too.
oh
Like
shit.
I am on board that ship. Absolutely.
And now
I
it makes
want to see more of them.
I want to like question all of it. Like, is Steph a mom to Lucy or
Right?
like,
Like is was Rose really
yeah,
Lucy's mother
like
or is it
what?
secretly Steph?
I'm
Like,
like trying to figure out, and like, why would Hank be taken out first if they were married going into, and she clearly said, I'm Hank McLean's wife. Like, people
right?
must know who she is.
I
Uh,
love that Betty made the little comment that we were all so scared of you. Like, I want to see more of bad bitch past Steph.
yeah,
Like, I hope we get those flashbacks next season because she just became infinitely more interesting to me.
I think, yeah. I mean, at first, like when I saw her, and again, we'll go over this when we talk episode 7, I was kind of uh like I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure. I was like Steph is the villain that Barb should be, to be honest. And
Right.
I was kind of frustrated by this because I knew if Steph was gonna be the villain, I didn't know if they were gonna do we'll go into Barb later, don't worry, guys.
Yeah.
But it was sort of like when Hank when not confronted, but when he jumped in to say bye to Cooper and Barb and said, "Oh yeah, we're gonna get married," and blah blah. I was like, okay, now I'm intrigued. Like now I'm very curious how this happens. I still think overall the way that the information was given to the viewer was a little bit lazy. Like her Canadian like passport where Chet is putting away the laundry. Like why is she keeping that there? Why not in the fucking locker? Like the
Right? Like in a keepsake box or some
right.
shit.
Same with Woody's glasses. Like, really, Steph, like, you're so smart. I feel like this is really stupid. And I don't think that you, as the character, are doing this. I think it's the writers doing this because they need to leave clues. And again, it's that leading up to this big reveal. And I'm just like, but this is sloppy. If Steph is supposed to be this badass, smart person, she would never
Right?
leave her Canadian, like her why would she keep her Canadian ID on her? Like I'm just gonna be honest. Like why would she keep that? I mean, maybe it's
Like,
some kind of keepsake, an homage to her mom, like maybe. But I'm like, but then to tell Shet to put her underwear away and not think to move the wall, like that's
yeah.
like dumb shit to me. Like I'm
See,
like, no,
for me, like if I'm a villain, if I am in Steph's shoes and experiencing the things Steph is experiencing, I would fucking burn that ID the night that Hank and I got married.
yeah.
Like, I would not be leaving any evidence that I am not exactly what the Vaulties need to believe that I am.
Right, exactly. Exactly. And that's why I'm like, why are you treating Chet so poorly when you need him out of everyone else on your side? Like, why are you kind of like maybe, maybe she sees Chet as the same Chet that was there when Lucy was there, who was kind of a dumbass, like a himbo kind of guy. And so she's making all of these decisions, assuming he's coming along. But when you realize you're getting some kind of pushback, I feel like Steph's smart enough to know how to play the game. And for
Right?
whatever reason, she did not choose to play that game with Chet anymore. It was more like shut up and look pretty.
Yeah,
And
and I'm like, she would totally be smart enough to like step back and punt. You
yes,
know what I mean?
yes.
Like I feel like that character as she has been established would not make these kind of fuck ups.
Yeah, exactly. Um, and so yeah, it was just that I'm very intrigued by Steph. I'm very intrigued by her relationship with Hank and all of that. I want to know more about that. But I don't like how her character or even some of her storyline happened because I thought that it was thrown together, at the last minute.
It
Um,
was.
let's talk Norm. I feel like again, I did like the setup with the rad roaches. I don't know, again, these are supposed to be top tier management. Like,
Right.
why is she looking in the elevator that might have rad roaches? You literally heard them when Ma June was like walk like this isn't we all heard them. We knew it was there. She warned everybody about them. Why, like, I know that Claudia's head hit the button, so I'm fine with the door opening, but why are
But
we
why wouldn't they immediately try to shut it
yeah.
somehow?
Yeah, I don't understand that. Like again, these are supposed at least unless I completely misunderstood, they're supposed to be really smart. Like there's a reason these are Bud Askins people that he put in this cryo chamber that are supposed to go in with phase two and they're trusted with all of this information. And I'm just kind of like, okay, but I mean obviously then we have Claudia who also got a cryopod and she only started working there like a week.
Like a week ago. Yeah.
I don't get it. And I thought that it was a little plot contrived when you
It
had,
was. It was definitely plot contrived. And I also felt like it's a running theme in this episode of like removing agency from certain characters because I would have liked to see Norm personally take out Ronnie because fuck Ronnie. He
yeah,
pissed me off terribly. And like you have the rad roaches handle shit instead.
yeah,
And now I did enjoy that Ronnie's stubbornness and his fuck you towards Norm was his own downfall and got just about everybody else killed too. They had it coming, but like, why couldn't Norm have fucking like sacked up and taken Ronnie out?
yeah. Well, and on top of that, see, the thing is, I actually really liked that Norm hid under the table and basically waited for the rad roaches because Claudia was in there. So I was like, "Oh shit, Norm, you're not even trying to save Claudia." I was like, "You're kind of like your dad." And I was like, "Okay, I'm like intrigued by this." But then he opens the door and I'm like, out of all the people that could have survived, it's fucking Claudia, the girl who started work like a week ago. Like I'm just kind of like, really. Look, I'm not saying it's not possible, but again, this feels too contrived. Like, I was
Mhm.
just like, everybody else died, including the roaches, but she survives. It would have been way more interesting and it would have raised the stakes a lot more if she was dead too, because then that's on Norm's conscience that could I have saved her if I opened the door, but I didn't. I stayed under the table. And yes, I would
Right.
have liked to have seen Norm stand up for himself against Ronnie. Um, because I liked I almost feel like with Norm specifically, we got a little bit of character regression because at
I
the
think we did
yeah,
because he was such a malcontent in season one. And I'm just sitting here watching him be like so meek. And I'm like, bro, no, you can totally handle this shit. Like you were a bad bitch when you were going and exploring Vault 32 and all of this kind of shit. And like also just like random sidetrack, did you forget that other men have nads? Because like I will fight dirty and the first thing I would have done is I'd have kicked Ronnie in the nuts and thrown him to the rad roaches.
right. Well,
Like,
and even starting this season, he grew nads, like you said, and basically killed Bud Askins. And then he undid all of the fucking vaulties, that were still in the
right? That was so fucking smart. Like it was so smart to use them to get out of the vault and all this kind of stuff. And like I loved where it was going. And then they
he
just
turned
like had
totally
it blow up in his face.
he turned totally passive. Instead of leading everyone and getting control of Ronnie, he basically was now back to being a follower. And at least season one, Norm was snarky and like a smartass, and I felt like this particular Norm wasn't even that. He was just
Right.
quiet. And I'm like, Norm, I know based on everything I've seen with Lucy, you guys were taught self-defense. Like you
Right.
obviously
Like there's,
size, but you can
like you
fight.
have gun weapons training
Right,
and like in the vault, you have like self-defense training. Like, you had all these resources available to you in the vault. Did you just not use them, or are you just having like a somatic freeze response like a fucking lizard right now?
right. And I wish, again, if that was going to be his response, then we needed to see that earlier so it didn't feel like such a reversion of who his character could have potentially been. So it was like I got really excited with Norm at the beginning and even a few episodes in, but then the last few episodes where we've seen him, I've just kind of been like,
I
Norm,
haven't enjoyed the reversal at all.
no. So I felt like his character regressed a lot. And even then, somehow Norm and Claudia both survive. And I don't feel like that was earned at all. Like I am just like,
Mm-mm.
I would have, look, no offense, I think Claudia is a great character. I'm like, yeah, I want Norm to have a love interest, trust me. But I think that that was too convenient. I didn't like that. I wanted there to be some stakes here, so I wish all of them would have died. Then Norm had to have been confronted with the fact that, oh shit, that's on me. Claudia died, but then it's almost like his father making that decision of, do I bomb Shady Sands? What's best for the majority versus the one? And it's like Norm sacrificed the one to keep the rad roach. Like it would have just been way more complex and I would have enjoyed it a lot more. And I'm a little okay, we can keep going because that's just like I was going to talk about the season in general. But did you have anything you wanted to add about Norm?
No, I think we pretty much covered everything. Like, I was so excited by what Norm was doing in the first half of the season, and then they just flipped it and completely took all his power away
Yeah.
in the
Yeah.
second half of the season. And I didn't feel like it fit his character from season one at all, or even the way that he had developed in the first half of season two.
Yeah.
It felt inconsistent.
Yeah, again, I felt like this was all needed to move the plot forward. So we're going to sacrifice the arc that we've built for him. Again, that was really disappointing. I think they did, I know we kind of touched on this. I think they did Dane dirty. I felt like they were just used almost like a Jiminy Cricket instead of an actual character. They were there to help Max figure out. So it was almost like their character solely exists for Max's benefit instead of having agency on their own and doing things on their own. And that was frustrating for me because not that I necessarily need to see like more Dane, or obviously there's so much screen time to so much people, and we're not even including all the flashbacks, but it's sort of like that's a big plot hole. Like, what happened to Dane? And, or not only just Dane, but everyone else. What happened to the Brotherhood, the war, all that sort of thing. Um, I'm trying to think if there are any other characters that we need to touch on before we get to the major three, the major four. I think we go Hank next, right? You want to go?
Yes,
All right.
yes,
Give me your thoughts on
absolutely.
Hank.
Because he has been, to me, like probably the most interesting character for this whole season.
Yeah. I love Hank. I love him. I love how much he loves Lucy. Like,
Yes, me too.
I, um,
I don't like that some of his choices took Lucy's agency away in
no,
this episode in particular, but like I feel like it shows just how much he really did love her still.
I don't think that anyone can question it. Um, Even the choice of him wanting to bug her, like
Yep.
it was more like, I mean, I think as parents, there's part of us that's like, I don't want my 6-year-old to turn into the jaded, sarcastic, asshole 16-year-old that I know you're going to turn into eventually. I want to keep you here with me. And it's obviously we would never transform our kids like that. But I can understand wanting her to be the Lucy from before everything. You know what I
Right.
mean?
I absolutely get it. Yes, 100%.
And I'm just like, okay, first of all, Hank, how the fuck did you break out of those handcuffs? Did you call
Yes.
people? So yeah, I mean, I think that I think Kyle MacLachlan is amazing. Okay, let's jump into the scene with Lucy. I am mad because what I loved about season one was the amount of foreshadowing where Lucy has to make tough choices. And sometimes when you put someone down, that's not out of hate, that's out of mercy. And
Right.
I loved, loved, loved that again. Cooper gave her the autonomy to choose whether to put her mother down. And she wound up putting her mother down. It was beautiful. What I didn't like about, and we're not necessarily going into Lucy right now, but when we start the season two, all of that character growth seemed to go out the window because she was arguing with Cooper about everything, even though she had to have understood there are certain times when you have to put someone down. Whether it you agree with it or not, sometimes that's the best choice. And so I felt like for this season, she needed another choice that she herself had to make in order to learn the lesson of sometimes you have to put down the people you love if they are
Yep.
turned into these bad people. And so, like at the end of the day, you can argue, well, she was going to take his memories away. But the point is that she didn't. Hank did it. And I really liked your take on it, where you're like, he almost took the choice away from her so she wouldn't have to make it in the first place. Like he kind of, that's how much he loved her that he did it himself.
Right.
But at the same time, I think part of it is he didn't want to tell her what she's asking because I think deep down he would have because of that love.
Yeah.
Um, but I just think that Lucy to me, and I know we'll probably go into Lucy now, Lucy to me didn't learn. I don't know if she learned the lesson because even after all of that, even after everything, when she's with Max and they're looking at the NCR and the Legion about to go into a war, she's already regretting not doing what her dad offered to do. She's like, the war is going to start and it's all my fault because I could have stopped it. And part of me is like, really, Lucy, we're going to play victim here? Like, this is not all about you. This war is going to happen no matter what. Like, come on.
Right. Like it was eventually going to happen no matter what.
Yeah. So I was,
Especially with the two people that um Lucy and Cooper met in the hills and like them reuniting with the rest of the NCR and mobilizing, like shit
yeah,
was gonna go down anyway.
right. And
Like
so
you were never going to stop that from happening.
right. And the fact that she's taking it all on herself, I was like, okay, now we're being a little dramatic. I don't like this victim mentality, Lucy. You were never like that. Like I don't want you to start being like it now. But she's already regretting not doing what her dad suggested to do. And so to me, it doesn't feel like she learned anything. Um,
I agree.
and so it's sort of like, what was the point of her character arc in season two? Her goal at the beginning of the season was to find her father. And once she found her father, like everyone was so excited at in episode seven because, she was like, you really were a good dad. Because of you, I wasn't a fudging idiot. And it's like she found her agency, she made her choice, she handcuffed her dad to the oven and she made her it was great and it was awesome, and we see her kind of taking out, the representative, but even then it's not because she necessarily wanted to. The representative kept asking for it. And so we don't really see Lucy make any hard decisions. All of those decisions are taken away from her, and I'm really kind of disappointed by that because I'm like,
It's not active.
no, it is not active. And I would argue that she and Cooper are respectively the main characters. And so when she has no agency this entire season, we get maybe little snippets, but then it's always like contrasted or taken away or whatever. It just feels like flat. Like I'm just kind of like Lucy at the end of season eight feels very similar to Lucy at the beginning, or not season eight, episode eight, and Lucy at the beginning of season one. I'm just trying to figure out how she's changed, like I don't know, because she clearly still loves her dad, and obviously she's going to, but she didn't make a decision about what to do with him. Her dad made that decision. She couldn't even kill him. She locked him down there. And I get it. I get it. Trust me, I get it. That's your dad, and they have a very complicated relationship. And it would have been like when me and you were messaging, it would have been much more heartbreaking if she took her dad's memories away, almost like Hermione does to her parents, like takes
Right.
away. And so it's like this relationship that she has with him is completely gone, which would have mirrored what Cooper told her at the beginning of the season. The way that you were raised wasn't real. And now it's literally not real because she removed it from his mind. Like that would have been so poetic. That would have been a lot. But it's like, no, Hank makes that decision, and then Lucy regrets it 5 minutes later because she could have apparently stopped this war. So I felt like I think Ella's an amazing actress. I think she looked absolutely gorgeous in the yellow dress. I'm glad Cooper got to see her in the yellow dress. But it was like, for me, like Lucy's character, she had her moments. Like, I was very amused by a lot of it. I loved, loved, loved the interaction when she was on drugs and taking out the kings. Like, that was really fun. But
Yep.
I felt like her ending was flat. Like, I did not feel satisfied
Hmm.
with how
And
it.
like I'm still mad that we got all this great like him in the fucking blue shirt, her in a yellow dress imagery, and yet fuck you, we're not gonna do that. We're not gonna give you the Beauty and the Beast vibes that you wanted. Like we're gonna go off in two completely separate directions and go fuck yourself. Is kind of how it felt.
Well, after what happened with episode 6 and the whole retconning of Barb, which we will get into, I felt like episode 7, like I was just kind of like, and again, we'll go into this in our deep dive of episode 7, but I felt like kind of pissed because we don't see any kind of inclination of Cooper even feeling a little bit guilty of what he did to Lucy. And yes, we can write it off that he isn't going to show it. I'm not arguing that, trust me. But I would have liked some kind of, I don't know. I think I would have liked something, but he was very focused on his goal. And now my whole thing is like, okay, what was the whole point of him betraying Lucy if Hank didn't even know where Barb was in the first place? As far as, I mean, maybe, I mean, I don't know. If Barb is working for the Enclave and Hank is some lowly secretary, is he gonna have that information in the first place? And
Right.
wouldn't Cooper know that? So like the fact that Cooper had to save Lucy again from her dad, I'm just like, well, what was the whole point of turning her over to her dad in the first place? Because you got the information about where your family was from Robert House, not from Hank. You got the cold fusion from Max and Thaddeus, not from Hank. So I'm trying to figure out what Hank had to do with his family anyway. Like,
Right. And like why do these transactions matter?
right. So I
I've
just,
got
yeah.
like a couple of thoughts like ping-ponging around in my head about the season as a whole, and they both just left my brain entirely because of course they did. Let me see if I can grab at what I was grabbing at there. Um, with the Enclave thing. Okay, here, we're back on track now. The whole thing with the Enclave is like I keep wanting to hope that they're just playing a long game
Yeah.
with Ghoulcy. I keep wanting to think that they're just playing a long game and then it's eventually in game, but hopefully they're planning a lot of seasons of this show so they can't let things pay off too early. So they've got to separate the characters, things like this. These are the kind of rationalizations going on in my head. But I don't know that Amazon Prime or the writers or who the fuck ever actually has the balls to give us Ghoulcy. I don't know if they have the dark romance kind of chops to go there and give us that. And like, I don't know if our expectations are skewed because we are dark romance girlies and we live for very high intensity, tightly paced stories.
So I actually agree with all of what you're saying. Here's my thing. I know one of the writers who did a lot of, I think it was when Lucy's on drugs and we get that playfulness. I think her name is Angela Kang, if I remember, and correct me if I'm wrong. I'm really sorry. But I think that she is pushing Ghoulcy because she wrote episodes from The Walking Dead when Daryl and Beth had their couple of episodes, and it was very clear that there was something between Daryl and Beth, but it was not. named. And so she did the same thing here. However, I have seen discussions again where potentially the same writers from season one might not be the same writers from season two, which would make a lot of sense because it felt like, I'm just going to be completely honest, with what's going on with Barb and Coop, and even to a degree, Max and Lucy, it feels like a very stereotypical, very cliche fairy tale. Like, we're going to be the good guys versus evil, and we are going to, win the day. Instead of it feeling like a fallout, morally gray, complex, reasonings behind the decisions that we are making or the characters that we have become. And I was really excited because, like, let's be honest, if you go on AO3 to read any of the fanfic, our ship is the one that's the most popular. Now, I'm not saying that automatically makes it canon or that it should be canon just based on the amount of people who like it. What I am saying is the majority of people saw something too in the way that they set everything up in season one. The Beauty and the Beast vibes were totally, totally there. Like, and to deny it, and you don't have to agree that the ship is going to be canon, or even if you like or support the ship, but you have to agree from a structural perspective that it was set up to, it shared a lot of similarities to that. It shared a lot of similarities to the Hades and Persephone, and it shared a lot of similarities to Beauty and the Beast. And we're seeing that. I felt like the contrast in season one of Max and Lucy, as well as the Ghoul and Lucy, like the Max thing felt forced on purpose. And it felt like we were supposed to compare Max as a partner for Lucy and the Ghoul as a partner for Lucy and who was better for her character. And hands down, it's going to be the Ghoul because Max still has so much more to learn and experience and grow with. And he obviously did in season two. Um, but in terms of is Prime actually going to do, I don't know if it's even dictated by Prime. I know that in the video games, you can basically be with whoever the fuck you want to be with, whether it's a robot, another Vaulty, a raider, whatever. You can go, and my dad was telling me all this lore about how you can partner with the Brotherhood or Robert House or all of these different players, in this game. And so technically speaking, a Vaulty and a Ghoul is canon in the game. You can go and make it canon. And so it would have been so fascinating to have watched. And again, they didn't necessarily need to be together, but I would have loved the implication of these deep and complex feelings that they have for each other that maybe even transcend the typical romance or whatever. I would have loved to have seen all of that. And I just basically, once Cooper turned her over, I didn't see any of it. Even as much as I loved the scene where Cooper saves her, Cooper is the only one who gives her agency. He basically says, hey, I would love to see you dead, but it's not up to me. And then he says, what do you say, Vaulty? And he is the only character who gives her own agency. And again, I don't know. It's just frustrating because even watching episode 7, I was just like, okay, I'm just watching this to finish up the season. I'm not actually, doing anything and I'm not getting my hopes up. And then you have that long ass sequence of, mirroring storylines between Lucy and the Ghoul. And I'm like, why the fuck are you doing this to me if there's nothing there? And so that's just kind of my feeling on the thing. What about you, Chelsea? What was your feelings on the Cooper rescuing Lucy scene?
I loved that scene. I loved that he did give her agency and he gave her choices. And that's part of why I still hope that there is a long game option for Ghoulcy and they're just forcibly separating them for now because there are more seasons on the docket and we have room to work with things. But I don't want it to end up being a situation like we got with Nancy Drew, where you think you have all this time and then somebody decides to cancel the fucking show and then no, you don't. And then you have to pivot so many episodes into the final season and then it just ends up being half-assed.
Right.
And like I don't want that to happen here.
Yeah, I mean, I think from what I'm hearing, the goal is 5 seasons, and we know for sure that they're filming three, or I don't think they're filming right now, but that three is at least been confirmed. Um, so my thing again, as much as I love that scene, it felt like a plot device because we don't see it from Cooper's perspective. We don't see him walking and then hearing Lucy scream and then rushing to her. I would have loved to have seen that because that would have been just enough fodder to keep me hopeful into season 3. Like if
Right.
I want to see him worried about her. And granted, when the door opens and like there is clearly a look where you can tell that Cooper is worried. He does save her. He does see her in that yellow dress. Um, but I don't know. Like, do you question, this is a little aside. Do you think that that's enough for Lucy to forgive him for betraying him? That he saved her life and gave her agency?
I think it makes like it's a big step.
Yeah.
It's a big step. I'm not sure that it's necessarily enough, but I think it's a huge step in the right direction. But I'm just not sure that they're going to give us that direction.
I think
And that's why I'm so stressed the fuck out now.
I think that Lucy sees who he really is in that moment because he does come back to save her. Like that is something like he could have, if he cared about his family so much, he could have just walked away. Like he didn't have to come after her and save her. Um, so yeah, so let's talk let's talk Cooper. Um, I'm not gonna lie, when, Cooper is arrested and we have that moment between him and Barb, I thought that moment was really touching.
It
I
was.
If Barb wasn't written the way that she was written in season 1, I actually would have really liked, like, I love that I'm your ride or die, like, don't say anything. I'm gonna take the fall. You're not gonna go down for the like, and she's just crying because she's like, no, no, I'll do it for you. Like, I don't, I loved that moment.
I loved that he's like, you have to prioritize our daughter.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. Okay, I said Cooper, let's go into Barb. I don't understand her character. I thought that I did, and I don't. And I see a lot of people online saying, well, she's so much more. No, she's not more complex. If anything, she's not. Like, she's weak. She is reduced to nothing. She has no agency. Now she was forced. She gets to be a victim. And it's just frustrating because we could have had this, like, unapologetically badass. Like she's a very top person at the company. You're either telling me she's incredibly stupid because she didn't know this type of shit was going on, or she knew and she just decided because Cooper caught her that she was like that is what makes her turn to Cooper. So like that's what I don't understand. If Cooper doesn't confront her, she doesn't tell him anything. So this doesn't make her to me a complex character. It makes her like I'm confused about who she is now because she and Cooper are literally arguing about Janie and like everything that that Barb would do for Janie, like literally drop the bombs for Janie. And then all of a sudden you're saying, "Wait, I was forced to do that? Like that wasn't my choice." And then on top of that, you're saying you want you and Cooper can fight this and Cooper has to be the one to remind you of Janie? Like I literally don't understand the motivations here. It felt like they completely retconned her character. Even Walton in interviews during season 1 talked about like Cooper is the way that he is because he suffered a big betrayal. Like I just I just don't understand because with Barb retcon, it completely ruined Cooper as a character for me. Because
Right? Because it makes the betrayal not real.
And it makes the betrayal like, oh, your country betrayed you. Honey, like you already saw that with Charlie. Like you already like could see that potentially shit was going down that you didn't know. You are a Hollywood actor. You are not this bright-eyed, like you're not Lucy, okay? I'm not saying that you didn't inherently believe in people, but then what the hell was the throwback to Barb when you were saying, I always know you're going to do the right thing. And then like literally the next episode, he hears that person who's supposed to be this good person say, let's drop the bombs ourselves. And I'm just like sitting over here like if Cooper knew at the end of the day that this had nothing to do with Barb, that Barb didn't betray him, how does he turn into the ghoul? Like, how
Right?
does that happen? He doesn't. And so it completely, like, so you're basically an asshole just to be an asshole now. You know that your wife is waiting for you somewhere, like, at least right now, from all of the information that we have. You know that your wife is waiting for you. You're not trying to get closure from her because there was no betrayal in the first place. So why the hell do you have this major chip on your shoulder? Like, I don't understand it. Okay, yeah, your country fucked you over, maybe. If it was the president, we don't know who this third party is as of right now. Clearly, it's something to do with the enclave. But I'm just sitting here, just like, are you fucking serious? Like it completely ruined him for me. And I'm like, I don't even give a shit. So when Robert House, when he goes and it's like cryogenically, we all knew she wasn't gonna be in there, right? We kind of all knew that was gonna happen. And it's like he finds the fucking postcard. First of all, Barb, how the fuck did you get the postcard in there if you weren't even gonna be anywhere near there anyway? And how the fuck did the postcard survive for 200 years in that chamber? Like perfectly. I thought Cooper went to every vault in the fucking country. Like, didn't he say
Didn't
that?
he mention Colorado?
Yeah, I don't understand. Now he's all happy because oh, for the first time in 200 years, I know my family's life. Shut the fuck up, Cooper. Like, no, where is my and you okay, I'm sorry. I told myself I wasn't gonna rant, but I just it fucking it fucking ruined him for me. Like if he was betrayed by that person that he loves, that he thought was a good moral person, it it would have been just the angst inside of him and that that anger and that desire for closure. Like as much as I disagree with him going after his family, it's like that need for revenge, right? It's a bigger motivator than, oh, whatever, I'm gonna go see my family and make up and whatever. I just I'm really disappointed with what they did to him. Like I fucking hate it. I fucking
They
hate
took
it.
a lot of the venom out of him
Yeah.
with what they did here, and it's like that's a lot of what made him interesting as a character. And I'm very disappointed.
Well, now I'm like, well, okay, if you're not this, I'm not saying he needs to be a dark romance coded hero, but like let's say you're the Beast or let's say you're Hades. Why are you lassoing Lucy? Why do you hate her so much? Like what like if you're still that where like how do you if your wife didn't betray you, why did you lose your humanity?
Right? And like, why do you hate seeing so much of yourself pre-war in Lucy if Barb didn't actually betray you?
Yeah. Because you already knew Vault-Tec was sketchy. Charlie, Moldaver, everyone, even Robert House, they're all telling you this. So you can't have been betrayed. You can't have known. You think that you're doing the right thing. You gave it to the president. Clearly something happens and that doesn't happen. But that is not a betrayal. That is kind of, no offense, sweetheart. That's kind of you being a fucking idiot. So you are stupid, but that stupidity does not explain your decisions from season one to season two. It doesn't explain that anger, that personalized anger. Because if that's the case, you should be mad at your country. You should be mad at the president. Why are you suddenly mad at Vault-Tec? If Barb betrays you, then you have every right
Right.
to be mad at Vault-Tec. But Barb
If
didn't
it
betray.
was the Enclave, like, shouldn't you be concerned about the Enclave?
Right.
Like,
Yes, exactly. But I don't know if Cooper even knows about the Enclave because I don't know if Barb has told him about the Enclave. And that's the thing. And that is where my frustration is because it's sort of like why do you hate Lucy so much to the point where like I get why you would sell her for parts, but where did your humanity go if you still have that sliver of hope? Like part of me like assumed that season 1 Cooper and even, up until we get this retcon of Barb is like you want your closure. You want to know why your wife betrayed you or stole your kid or, all of this stuff. And so that anger and that frustration is pushing you across like it's the thing that's making you it's the thing that's driving you. And if you know that she didn't betray you, if you're working with her, then you have hope. If you have hope, you can't be this sadistic, like evil, like not evil, but like angry, frustrated person who hates things. You can't have it both ways. If you have hope, you still retain your humanity. I'm not saying you don't have to do evil shit in order to get what you need to do, but you don't hate Lucy. You don't even hate Hank. Like, why do you hate Hank? Like, what did Hank do? And granted, maybe they're working together. I don't know. I honestly don't know. Hank, whatever, fine. But I'm sorry, like Cooper's character is fucked for me. And I don't know how they bring it back, if they can bring it back. Because I mean, granted, it could be like I'm still hoping that the third player is Bard, but I don't think it can be if like we see Wilzik, right, in the elevator with her and they're both kind
Right.
of victims. So I'm just kind of like over here like,
Unless
okay.
that was just for show for somebody at Vault Tech, but that would be a real fucking stretch.
Yeah, and now I'm like, you completely, to me, like you completely fucked your own, like season 1 makes no sense now. And me and my dad were actually talking about this because we were talking about Hank, and we were like, okay, based on everything that we know about Hank now, then that means Hank knew that his daughter was not marrying someone from Vault 32. So why would he let all of these people into Vault 33? Because he knew what was in Vault 31. He knew what was in Vault 32. So was he forced? Like, what makes him do this trade and marry his daughter to a fucking raider? Lucy almost dies. Norm almost dies. So if Hank, who loves his daughter so much, how does this even, like, how does this happen? That's what I'm confused about too, as we were talking about.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, these are kind of big plot holes in terms of just character development and character motivations. And it's just so frustrating because it's like, even if hypothetically, even if we like, because I also saw on Tumblr, like people are like, okay, this isn't, we, like you said, this could be the long game. It's a good thing that, Barb is still in there because people change. And this would force him to confront that change versus the choice is taken away from him if she's dead, right? But I don't know. I don't know at this point. I didn't even like the ending where he like goes off on his own. I'm just kind of like I don't know. The endings weren't huge cliffhangers for me, the way that season 1 ended. What do you think of the Max Lucy ending and the Cooper ending?
Right. The way things like played out, I like most of all, I was just pissed that like Cooper's going off on his own
Yeah.
away from Lucy and Max and Thaddeus and this like found family that we've come to love. And I don't know, it just feels like there's a narrative there that they're trying to push and it's not the one I was hoping for.
I just feel like again, it goes back to like this message of we're going to fall on the societally, politically correct storytelling, which is these are what's good, this is what's evil. And on top of that, these are the relationships that are acceptable, and these are what's not acceptable. Cooper should get this second chance with his family. Lucy and Max should be together. And it's just to me, and this is no knock on the Vault Night people. Like, I really respect Max more than I did. That doesn't mean that I want him with Lucy, but I like him as a character way more than I thought I would, way more than I did in season one. But I just don't, it's Cooper and Lucy literally mirror each other. If that wasn't shoved down our throat with episode seven, then I don't know what is, which means Lucy was betrayed by her father. 100% betrayed by her father. Who's Cooper betrayed by if their stories are mirrored? If he's trying to obtain some kind of humanity. And so I guess we'll talk about Barb. I think she's the last character we need to touch on. And honestly, like again, I loved the scene with her and Cooper. The actress played it so well. Like I believed her. And that's what makes me so mad because I believe that she truly loves Cooper. And I'm like, I don't understand you. I don't understand your character. I don't even know if this is fake because it's like you said, I don't think people are going to I don't think they have the balls to make Barb a true villain with agency. I don't think that they do. Which is weird because we clearly can see the seeds of Steph being this true villain with agency. And so I'm like, well, why can't Barb be one too? Why does Hank get to be one? Why doesn't Barb? Because if Lucy and Cooper mirror each other, I honestly feel Hank and Barb mirror each other in a way, like with in terms of the relationships with Lucy and Cooper, because it's like Hank had to do a lot of things behind Lucy's back, Barb had to do a lot of things behind Cooper's back, and it's like, I don't know. I hate what they did to her. And I'm honestly really depressed about it, to be honest. So,
I am too. I am too. Like, I really, really wanted her to be like this bad boss bitch that was behind everything. And I just do not know that we'll ever be given that.
okay. So let's pretend we know that there are going to be 5 seasons. Obviously, I think that you and I also play the long game in terms of writing. And I think that if you and I were writing this, Cooper and Lucy don't get together just yet. So if you could fix it, if you could write the season over, what would you do for the finale in terms of like, let's pretend this is your book two. Like, what would be your cliffhanger and how would the relationship between Cooper and Lucy deepen? Like, what would you do?
I would have made Hank tell Lucy something that Cooper needs to know and make her have some kind of information that he needs to get to wherever the fuck his family is.
Hmm.
I would have made the Colorado was a good idea thing come through Hank to Lucy, like, and then through Lucy to Cooper somehow.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
But I don't know. I don't know.
I think too, um, I think too, like I would even be okay, like again, like even though the whole deal based on the information we gave, like the whole betrayal of Lucy, I don't agree with how it was set up, but fine, it happens. I think that maybe he's searching for his family. He hears that Lucy is in distress and, he saves her. Lucy either puts Hank down right away or she puts the thing in and maybe she says something like, "Hey, I know where your family is," and maybe they go to the the cryogenic place together. Maybe even Lucy's the one who takes him there. Because again, the whole Robert house, I know that that's legit to the game. I'm not taking that away. Again, it just feels a little convenient that Cooper has Robert House to tell him how to navigate this, and I'm just kind of like, okay, why is Robert House helping him? Like, what's in it for Robert House? Like, I was trying to figure that out. And if Lucy takes him there and it turns out that, they're not there, and we get that information about Colorado, even if I don't agree with the postcard, let's say we still keep it in there, at least they're together and at least they have a new sort of goal together. See, that's what I thought was going to happen. I knew that we weren't going to get Barb and Janie in present time yet. And I thought that they would go and they would do it together. What I was not expecting was the NCR versus the Legion in Vegas. Like, I know there was seedlings. I'm not saying they didn't necessarily plant the seeds earlier, but they were in like outside of Vegas. That I just didn't think it was gonna happen on the strip, like right there in front of them.
Right.
So, what's your take on like our ship? Like, do you think I mean, I'm sure there's a possibility, but like, what do you think? What do you think's gonna happen in season three? Like,
I I
how,
think the possibility is slim to none right now.
yeah,
Like,
and we're not trying to be Debbie Downers here. We're just, if we look at it from a writing point of view, like, I think that Chelsea and I, we try to pride ourselves in we're not seeing everything with ship-coated glasses on. We are trying to see everything based on what the writers have given us, all of the information that we have. And I don't know, how do you see Cooper, Max, and Lucy teaming up again? Like if he's going out east to Colorado and there's a war, like how do they get back, together, like all three of them or whatever?
right? Or are we just gonna have like two completely separate storylines that don't intersect again?
Right. Well, I was telling my husband, I was like, okay, let's hypothetically say Cooper goes off to Denver and finds his family. His story's over. Like, where is his growth if he gets the happily ever after that he wants? And so with him being separated, I'm just trying to figure out, like, are we really gonna see he's been trying to find his family for 2 seasons. Are we really gonna prolong this? Like, I'm legitimately trying to put myself in the, like, because I'm just like, okay, what's gonna stop him now? Like, what's gonna get in his way? And I feel like, how when we're planning like a 5 book series, the stakes have to escalate across every single book. Because if
Mhm.
book two and book three are basically the same story with no escalation, then it's just essentially the same book and it's boring. Because I don't see if season three for Cooper's story is just him trying to get to Colorado, I'm just like, okay, now what? Season one and season two, you already were searching for your family and things already got in the way. Like, am I really gonna have to watch another season of you doing this and more things getting in the way? Like,
Right?
I don't
Or
know.
are we gonna get lucky and you're gonna get there and Barb is actually gonna be behind the Enclave and like she's not the person that you thought she was, and now you're like in the midst of fresh betrayal all over again. And do you at that point just like try to get your daughter to come with you and see the right of things, or like what the fuck do you do at that point?
I mean, I would hope, and then maybe even like, because I'm thinking they might do another time jump because Colorado is much further from Vegas than Vegas was to California. So
Yeah.
maybe it's like post-war after the Legion and NCR, and it's bad. Maybe the Legion is won. I mean, I don't know. But then if the Legion wins, I almost feel like we're back to square one in the sense that, okay, like what? I don't know. I have no idea. Is Lucy just going to be hung from a cross again? Like I don't know. And that's what I'm kind of confused because at least in season one, I didn't necessarily know what was going to happen, but I could see as a writer the setup of the potential of what was going to happen. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Even for Max, even if they went with Max being that villain type, that would have been a great storyline for him, the way that this storyline is also a great storyline for him. But
Right.
it's just kind of like, I don't know what to think. And then hypothetically, he finds his family. You're telling me that Barb's gonna still be in love with Cooper after 200 years? Like what, like is he gonna tell her all the things that he had to do to get to her?
Right. And is she gonna be a synth,
Yeah,
or is she gonna be still human and
right.
just like,
And on top of that, how would Barb know when to come out of the cryogener? Whatever. It's like how, like is is she frozen still? Like I and are you telling me for real that somehow the bombs drop in California, or I guess technically all over the world, and somehow Barb is able not only to get her and Jane to potentially Vegas to drop off the Colorado, but somehow they're also able to get to Colorado and they're like safe from all of this nuclear rate. Like how? Like I'm trying to figure it out. I'm trying not to let my
Right? Like, did you have so much fucking rat away, like just stocked up? Or
like
like,
because clearly it was a surprise. Like there's no way Janie is out in the world if Barb knows when the bombs are dropped. Maybe
yeah,
even Cooper doesn't know. Like, maybe Cooper's arrested and yet he has to pay her out. Like, wait, he he was arrested for some major charge. So how does he get out of jail? Like, I don't
right? Like, how does he get out of jail? How do they get to the divorce part? Like, how, like,
I
there's so much shit here
maybe
that's
they
not
just
adding up for me.
maybe I don't know because I'm just like if Cooper, I would hope would want to continue to like fight it to save because he was against dropping the bombs, even if it meant saving Janie. So I'm like, okay, let's say he's arrested and he gets out. They fake the divorce so nobody knows what's going on. But then clearly, if Barb is in Vault-Tec, Vault-Tec didn't know that she was going against them. So what happens here? Does Cooper I I
Right?
I
And
don't
like,
get it.
does that mean that Wilzig was already involved with the Enclave and that's how he knew what the fuck she was up to? Or like, what
Yeah,
is the situation?
because now none of it makes any sense. And now I'm like, as a writer, I'm like confused. I'm like pissed off. It's not, it's plot stuff, it's character choices. Like, this is a mess of a show, which it coming from season one, I'm like, what the fuck happened in that writer's room? Like, this is not the same writer group, I don't think. And I'm just like, I don't understand any of it because you retcon one thing in Barb and suddenly your whole entire storyline is shit. Like, it ruined season one, you know?
Yeah.
Anyway, well, guys, we don't necessarily mean to be such downers, but we don't really know what else to say with this episode. What's one thing that you liked in this episode, Chelsea? I mean, I guess the rescue scene was good.
I loved the rescue scene, and honestly, like even though it took away Lucy's agency and that upset me, like I loved seeing how much Hank still loves Lucy.
Dude, that scene got me when he's like, "Oh, miss," because I was like, "Oh, is he gonna remember her and just think that they're out of the vault, like not even realize all this stuff?" But it's like, no. When he was like, "Oh, miss," I was like, "Oh, he didn't
Oh,
even know who she is," and he brushed the hair away. I was like, "Oh, that got like I teared up. I was like, oh, that got me. That got me."
it made me very emotional too.
Um, so I saw this theory on Tumblr that Hank might be faking the amnesia.
I had that thought. I did have the thought that he may be faking the amnesia. And like since she did destroy the mainframe and like destroy the congresswoman, why would it still work?
Exactly. And shouldn't she know this? I'm sorry, Luce, but you literally bashed in as congresswoman. Like, you did this. Like, how do you not? Like, why was the guy able to choke her out? Like, why did
Right.
that still work? That didn't make any sense.
Yeah, and like it's is it just that she's so emotionally compromised when it comes to her father that she can't think straight?
You know what? I would believe that, and I would be fine with that as a character flaw. Like, I would be completely fine with that if she struggled with that. But you make such an excellent point about let's take away the heartbreaking scene when her dad goes to choke her out, or not Hank, but the guy. Why isn't she noticing, hey, I just bashed the senator's head in? Why is he still under my father's influence?
Right? They may have said something earlier about like it just being like you can't create more like this
Oh, okay, yeah.
after
But
that
then,
might be a thing.
yeah, I think you're right. But then didn't he say something about miniatures? Like you're not even gonna notice them or something like that like they were Hank and her were talking after the fact. And I think she's asking like, what was your plan? Like, why are you here? And she's talking about he mentioned the miniatures that you're just gonna see the scar on the back. But if the mainframe is dead, like you said, then how would it work? You know?
Right.
Like,
Like how is it actually working? And I love the theory that Hank is faking the amnesia because that was my first thought
yeah.
after the end credits are done was what if he's faking? What if he's just faking the amnesia and now he's gonna go and reunite with Steph?
Mm. Or or Steph's
Or
going
he's gonna enact phase two
right.
somehow and like help get phase two in motion.
Yeah. And so I was curious when Hank said the vaults weren't the experiment, the top side was, or the surface was. What do you
Right.
think Hank meant by that specifically?
I mean, I think it means that like he is part of the Enclave and has always been part of the Enclave. And they intended to see how these factions stacked up against each other, what beliefs you could install in people's heads, and like how they're going to act and interact on the surface based on what you do to them, like the stimuli and the literature that you give them or the context that you give them.
Hmm.
And I think he's been Enclave the whole fucking time. I think he, Barb, and all of Bud's buds were Enclave.
I would believe that because I'm like, if Hank is Enclave, then Barb has to be. Barb has to be. That is her secretary. Like,
Well, that's, they said that the Enclave is why the Death Claws exist, and the shit about the forced evolutionary virus was on Barb's terminal.
and we see her in meetings where she is literally forced to figure out what vaults get what experiments. So it's not
Yep.
like she
And
was
like, I still go back to that, and I would like to know why she chose Hank's vault to be one of the ones with a water chip that's going to fail.
right, especially if that is her secretary. And on top of that, that's where a lot of the vault tech buds and admins people were placed. Um, it even Betty is her I know Hank is the admin, wait, he's the assistant and then Betty's her secretary, right? Why
Right.
would she send these people to a vault that would have that water chip malfunction? Like
Right.
that doesn't make sense. And so it's like even if they're
Or
retcon
did Hank know the whole time that that was eventually going to happen, and they were eventually all going to have to come to the surface anyway? And it was going to be Reclamation Day, whether they wanted it to be the way they thought it was going to be or not.
yeah. Um, Wait, but didn't we get information on the water chip thing and how that was the Vault 33 experiment, right? And every time there was like not an uprising or just something was going on, then the water chip would defect and it would almost be like they would start over. Or am I tripping out and making this up in my head? Because it could be. I don't know.
I don't know. I feel like I might have read that somewhere, but I don't think it's actually canon in the show.
Oh, okay, that would I think yeah, it might have been something me and my dad were talking about and he might have been explaining that to me, possibly. I don't know. I don't remember. But anyway, yeah, I mean, I'm just trying again, it's like I get that we want to be the plot twisty and the big reveals, but now you not only does this season not make sense, it's making me question a lot of season one, which frustrates me because season one was so perfect. Um,
Right.
so it's like, okay, the Enclave. Now, I will say if Barb still is a villain and she betrays Cooper at the end, like that would make a lot of sense in terms of why he was such an asshole because he thinks he and his wife are working towards the same goal only for it to back that would be fine and it would keep everything. I mean, season two, I feel like would still be a little bit muddy when it comes to little things, but it would be fine.
Right. You know what I would really love to do with this show? Like if I had any editing capabilities at all, which I don't, um, I would love to watch every single clip of the show in chronological order on the timeline,
Yeah.
just to see if that makes things make more sense to me.
Yeah.
Because the like flashing back and forth can kind of tangles things up until it doesn't, you know?
Right. Exactly. Um,
What's that Taylor said? What a simple thought, you're starving till you're not. I'd like maybe that's what they're doing to us.
right. Oh my gosh. Yeah, exactly. I mean, there is that like 10% that hopes, like you said, that it's the long game. Even again, we don't have to get the ship. I don't necessarily need it to be canon, but I also don't need Max and Lucy to be together, and I don't need Cooper and Barb to be together. I need Cooper and Lucy to have something like some kind of meaningful understanding, like they are ride or die. It's like it transcends romantic feeling or whatever. It's not the typical traditional boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife kind of thing. You know,
But they have each other's backs through thick and thin, no matter what the fuck happens. They're always like, I don't know. I kind of want it to have like Once Upon a Time vibes and the I will always come for you thing.
yeah.
Like,
Well, like they prioritize each other the most. So, granted, obviously, if Cooper has his daughter, whatever, but like if Lucy calls, even if they're separated on different missions, then Cooper's going. Cooper's dropping what he's doing and he's gonna go rescue Lucy. And same thing for Lucy. If anything happened to Cooper, Lucy goes. I mean, I don't know. I would love it if Lucy had to go rescue Cooper this time. In season three, like
oh my God, what if Cooper ends up in some kind of situation and Barb is literally like trying to implant him with one of the mind control devices
that's what I was
so
also,
things can go back to like the way they were before.
and
And
he
Lucy has to stop that and give him agency to make the choice about what he's going to do with Barb.
right. Well, and it would make him forget all of the bad things he had to do as the ghoul. And I think that part of him would be tempted by that. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like that would make him be forced to choose. Are you going to run away from your problems or are you going to keep them with you? And on top of that, that forces you to forget who Lucy is.
Right.
Um, we need a fic of that like right now, guys. Like we need we need to get through this. Um, but yeah, like even where Lucy hears something and she basically has to tell Max, no, we have to go and get him or we have to save him or,
Right.
you know, um,
I need the fic of this like Claudia needs a stim pack right now, guys.
poor Claudia. Yeah, I mean, I'm very curious to see how Norm is also going to play into this because Norm is still in Santa Monica. So it's sort of like, you know, I don't know. I mean, we also, what the fuck is phase two? What is Steph gonna do? When I saw Shet's shit eating grin, I was like, oh shit, Shet, she's gonna fucking murder you, dude. Like
That's
this,
exactly what I said to Lake. I was like, she's gonna fucking kill him.
I was like, like what? And I'm like, Steph, where's your kid? Like, come on, guys. Like, where's the baby?
Right? Like, and why don't you give a shit about your baby? And also, like, why are you not more freaked the fuck out about Lucy if Hank is your husband? Like, are you just like, well, fuck Lucy because that's not my biological child? Like, if she's not your biological child. So, like,
She
what,
was the best friend. That's the thing. She was her best friend. That is what I don't understand. And why the fuck, I'm gonna go back to this. Why the fuck does Norm tell Lucy on her wedding day, what if he's a cannibal? Why the fuck is that line there if it doesn't mean anything? Fuck you.
right?
Fuck you.
Like, yeah, fuck you for giving me hope.
On the
And
way.
then just being like, nah.
Yeah. Anyway. Okay, I got that out of my system. I feel better. All right. Anything to wrap up? Anything like should we ask them? What should we ask them in the comments?
Um, I don't know, like mostly like were you guys as excited as I was to find out that yes, Steph is Hank's wife
Like,
and like
do you ship Hank and Steph? Because we sure as shit do.
right, we do. We definitely do. Like that is power couple energy and I'm here for it,
Like
okay?
bad villain, ride or die. Like, let's see some two bad bitches get into some shit to get. Like, this is what I want, Lucy and Cooper. This is what I want, Barb. Like, I want some bad villain shit. And since they're married, even better. Like, let's do it. Like,
Right?
I want it.
Give me the evil power couple that like will literally do any fucking thing for each other because I guarantee you I would help my husband bury a fucking body in a heartbeat. Like I would rip and Beth that shit so fucking hard
Oh yeah.
it would not even be funny.
Okay, so do you guys ship Hank and Steph? And then if you have if you commented on our episode 6, we will get to your comments for our episode 7, but we needed to get all of this off of our chest. If you have any other speculation or thoughts on episode 8, we have no judgment. Leave them in the comments too. We are still going to be doing an episode 7, so feel free to stick around for that.
My
Uh,
mom's dog was having seizures last Wednesday and there was like a lot of upheaval with that. So that's why we haven't done episode 7 yet, guys. Sorry. Sterling was having a bad day.
well, yes, and of course, Sterling's better now though, Chelsea.
Yes, Sterling is better now. It was something he ate, had really high phosphorus content in it, and high phosphorus is bad for dogs. It like unbalances their electrolytes, and it can cause vomiting and seizures, which it did both with him. And we think it may have been a combination of him getting poinsettia leaves that had fallen off my mom's poinsettia and chewing them up, and him getting into the cat food, which cat food is very high in phosphorus because cats need phosphorus.
Right.
And so, like, that combination of things really messed the poor pup up.
Okay. Well, I'm glad that he's better. We will be getting to episode 7. Again, questions, comments, anything, let us know. And yeah, it's the end of the season, guys. I guess
It
we'll see
is.
each other next season. I mean, after episode 7, of course. Well, all right,
Right.
take care.
Bye.